Well, as you know, pre-calculus and advanced pre-calculus are courses that you need to finish in high school if you want to go into calculus for college. And as if we all know, calculus is one of the um, harder classes, and it is um, a lot of majors have to take calculus. So a good pathway for you to go is to take pre-calculus or advanced pre-calculus in high school. We will be covering today the criteria, the recommendations that I have to people if they want to go into pre-calc or advanced pre-calc, depending on their math ability and other factors. So these are criteria that I recommend you fulfill if you want to go into pre-calc or advanced pre-calc. And again, this is important because a lot of majors in college require calculus, and you have to take pre-calculus as a prerequisite, so high school is a good way to accomplish that. These is specifically for high school pre-calc and advanced pre-calc, not for college pre-calc, because the course is different in college than high school. So let's begin. This is based on what I've seen, what I've experienced, and what other people who have taken pre-calculus and calculus have agreed on. So let's begin. So if you want to go into pre-calculus, there are 6 criteria that I highly recommend you meet or fulfill in some meaningful way if you want to take the class of pre-calculus. Note, this is not honors, accelerated, or any advanced pre-calculus class. So you must fulfill both of these requirements. You have an AST or SAT math score in the 60th percentile or above nationally, not locally. This is because you have to have a good understanding of algebra, trigonometry, and other concepts. You have to understand algebra, trigonometry, and other concepts, and have a decent understanding of them if you want to go into the 4th math sequence, which is pre-calculus. So 60th percentile is a good standard if you want to go into pre-calculus. That is my recommendation. And if you do not meet this criteria, if you do not have an ACT or SAT score of the 60th percentile in math, I recommend that you take it again and try to get this, not only so that you can see that you have the necessary math skill to go into pre-calculus or advanced pre-calculus, but also it's better for colleges if you do so, if you retake it and get higher scores. I never retook the ACT. I got an 80th percentile in the math section nationally, 90th percentile locally. So that is what I recommend. If you are, let's say, a sophomore and you have never taken the ACT or SAT, you can use the pre-ACT or SAT percentiles in the 60th percentile or above if you want to meet this recommendation. And if you have not taken the pre-ACT or the pre-SAT, then you only have to fulfill recommendation number 2 if you are an exception to that. So in a pre-ACT SAT, if you have not taken an ACT SAT, or an ACT SAT math score in the 60th percentile in the math section or above. The second prerequisite is you have successfully completed Algebra 2 or Algebra 2 Honors or Advanced course or Accelerated course. So this is if you take Algebra 2 or an Honors Algebra class and have obtained a C grade or better, 70% or better, both semesters respectively. The reason why they are the same, why Honors Algebra 2 and Algebra 2 are the same, is because a D is considered a poor grade. So this is the minimum criteria that you should meet, these 2, if you want to go into pre-calculus. This is the beginning. You should fulfill both of these. Next, additional pre-calculus requirements / recommendations. There are recommendations. So you should have 3 of these 4 noticeable strengths recommendations, and you must fulfill the responsibility recommendation. 3, you have focus, because this is based on the last criteria, 1 and 2. So 3, you have the ability to focus on concepts taught, homework, and other materials for a couple of hours at one time. This is very important. If you have ADHD, anxiety, or depression disorders, you might want to get this fixed by medication or other treatment before going into a pre-calculus or advanced pre-calculus class, because you will struggle if you do not have the focus necessary. Responsibility. You are willing to take the class seriously. This is a required recommendation. I guess that's an oxymoron, but this is like you have to fulfill this. If you want to be successful in pre-calc or advanced pre-calc, you have to fulfill the responsibility requirement. You are willing to take the class seriously. This includes successfully completing homework assignments, not cheating, not procrastinating till the last moment, and not playing around. This is critical if you want to get a passing or even a good grade in pre-calculus or advanced pre-calculus. This is an absolute fulfillment, number 4. Resourcefulness, number 5. So you notice that resourcefulness is a strength of yours based on the other math classes that you have taken before pre-calculus or advanced pre-calculus. This is Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2, or honors if you've taken those. You notice it's a strength of yours, and you know how to ask and get help when you are needed, and you do not refrain from asking for help and are comfortable doing so. If you skip on help, then you will be in trouble. So this isn't necessarily something that you've always had to have, but you have to get comfortable with this recommendation if you want to be successful in pre-calculus. And number 6, self-reliable. You know how to take and memorize mathematics notes that you take. I accidentally put this twice, let me change that. And can effectively use them and learn from them. So it is very important that you take mathematics notes and are able to memorize them and know them. If you are struggling, you can ask for help, or if you have the focus and do the assignments, then you might be able to scrape by. But in general, you should have all 4 of these recommendations. However, only 3 are required for me to have good confidence that you'll at least get a passing grade. Well, what we define as a passing grade is a C, not a D. 3 of the 4 of these, and you can work on these to fulfill these requirements or recommendations. Next up, if you want to go into advanced pre-calc, there are now 7 criteria I highly recommend that you meet if you are considering taking the class of any advanced, honors, or accelerated pre-calculus. So you must fulfill both of these requirements. You have an ACT or SAT math score in the 70th percentile or above. If you have not taken an ACT or SAT math score, but you've taken, or the ACT or the SAT, but you've taken the pre-ACT or SAT, a 70th percentile score is also good enough. If you happen to be, a sophomore that's going into advanced pre-calc, for example, the pre-ACT or SAT is good enough evidence. And if you've not taken that, then you only have to fulfill requirement 2. You have successfully completed Algebra 2 and have obtained an 85% or higher both semesters. So this isn't your typical low grade B. This is in your mid B, a solid B that you need both semesters if you want to be successful at advanced pre-calculus. Both semesters. Or you have obtained an 80% or above both semesters in advanced Algebra 2, honors Algebra 2, or any accelerated algebra course, 2 course. If you have, I don't know, let's say you have an 83 or an 84 in that standard algebra 2 class, or you have a 78 or 79 in the advanced algebra 2 class, you are probably good with this requirement. This is just a general range of where you should be. If you're 1-2 points off, then don't worry about it. You have fulfilled recommendation number 2. Additionally, you must have 4 of these 5 strength recommendations, and again, you must fulfill the responsibility recommendation. So abstract reasoning and learning pace is added on because this is a harder class with accelerated learning material, and you have to learn at a rapid fire pace and know more abstract concepts that you will get into in advanced pre-calculus. So you have taken an IQ test and have a full IQ score of 110 intelligence quotient, or if you haven't taken an IQ test, you notice abstract thinking is a strength of yours, and you are able to learn math material quickly, and need few repetitions to master math skills as seen in your algebra and geometry classes. So this is, if you've taken algebra and geometry and you realize that you need a lot of time to fulfill something, like you need a lot of time to, or a lot of repetitions, then advanced pre-calculus might not be for you. But if you fulfill these other requirements and you lack this requirement, then you will probably be fine. So for example, if you get help because you aren't able to learn as quickly and you need more than few repetitions to master the math skills, then you will probably be good if you know how to learn from the notes and you know how to ask for help and you're able to focus and you have responsibility. This is why only 4 of the 5 criteria are needed for me to say that you will probably get a C or better in this class. Maybe even a B or better at this point. Focus. You have the ability to focus on concepts taught, homework, and other materials for a couple of hours at one given time. With advanced pre-calculus, homework is going to take more of your time than normal pre-calculus. So this is a recommendation that you need to fulfill. And you should be willing to focus on more than a couple hours, maybe few or several hours on your work at a time. Responsibility. You're willing to take the class seriously. This is the required recommendation. This is one of the required criteria. You need to be taking this class seriously. This includes successfully completing homework assignments, not cheating, not procrastinating, and not playing around. You're resourceful and know how to ask for help, and you're self-reliable, and you know how to take and memorize mathematics notes, and you can effectively use them. That is the criteria for pre-calculus and advanced pre-calculus. If you do not meet these, if you do not meet the normal pre-calculus recommendations, then you should work to fulfill them. There can be exceptions made to some of these criteria, but in general, you want to work to where you're comfortable with these criteria and know that you can fulfill these strength criteria and the math ability criteria. So that is all. Thank you.